Hey, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
Hi guys, CombinedYoutuber here. Welcome to the F1 2016 career mode today, and we'll be doing the Canadian Grand Prix qualifying today, the 7th round of the season in Montreal. Here are our qualifying goals for the Canadian Grand Prix. We are going to qualify 10th or higher, which is our highest from the team. We need to beat Valtteri Bottas, of course, our rival. Jensen Button, actually, our new rival, Jensen Button. And we, of course, need to beat Romain Grosjean, which should be easy enough, considering during practice I can tell you that I have been beating him in this track. So let's go now to qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Good afternoon, and we hope you're ready for an exciting qualifying session as the teams make their final preparations here in Canada.
So here we are in Canada, which is a wet session. So for the second time this season, we have a wet session, wet qualifying session. Russia was the other one, but now we have actually a full wet session. So for the entire session, we will have rain. We have heavy rain at the moment, so it's heavy rain. So we'll have wet tyres for the runs. I prefer not. I'm not really going to go out for a wet tyre run because, personally for me, heavy rain, it has the worst grip on 2016 compared to light rain. Because, yeah, unfortunately, I'm just not good at the heavy rain in general, really. The light rain I'm actually quite decent in this game. But anyway, on to the qualifying now, and Felipe Massa is the first top guy to set a timed lap here. So he comes into the pit straight. He's on the full wets, so he's on the full wet tyres. So let's hope he can go well here. Into turn 1, he is literally coasting through there on his wet tyres. And now coming through into turn 3. On board with him into the chicane. No oversteer on the exit. You've got to be very, very careful not to oversteer on the exit, of course. But now, sorry, I'm actually a little bit sick at the moment. So if I don't commentate well or I don't sound well, then that's why. Now coming onto this straight, Felipe Massa. Now coming into through the tunnel into the about the third chicane, let me say. And onto the mini straight, coming now into the hairpin. He's going to now break down, surely into second gear. Surely second gear into this hairpin. Yes, it is second gear. He takes it nicely there, very slowly to be fair. Now coming onto the back straight. Full throttle, up through the gears into 7th and into 8th gear. Now coming into the very, very tricky final chicane. Felipe Massa brakes into the final chicane. Here he goes into 3rd gear. He brakes with the final chicane nicely. Actually cut the corner on the first apex, but now here we go into the final straight. Felipe Massa crosses the line with a 1:28.9. So it's not the right time, but obviously as it's Williams, it won't get pole position. And now here is Raikkonen on a lap now. They're coming into the final corner. Into the chicane. Let's see what Raikkonen can do on this straight. Here we go onto the pit straight. Now crossing the line does Kimi Raikkonen, and he goes first with a 1:27.9. So that's over a second faster than Felipe Massa. Quite interesting there. And now here is Sebastian Vettel on the lap, currently being blocked by Romain Grosjean, out of all people. Interesting. Now coming onto the straight, not the straight, the chicane. Now onto a mini straight, coming down into. We still have people on full wet tyres, so I'm not really going to go out for a run in this part of the session. I'm going to go out straight away on the intermediates. So onto the straight now, with Sebastian Vettel coming onto the straight. Let's hope this qualifying session is good, by the way, because usually In Canada, we qualify well. In 2013 career mode, we have qualified on pole twice in a row. So let's see what we can do in 2016 career mode. Now here is Vettel coming onto the pit straight with a 1:27.7, going second fastest, because I believe a Mercedes has gone quickest, and has Lewis Hamilton has gone quickest with a 1:27.3 by 0.3 of a second there. So Vettel's ahead of Raikkonen, but Hamilton has got provisional pole at the moment. Romain Grosjean's also on a lap. Who else? Max Verstappen in third at the moment, 0.4 behind. Kimi Raikkonen, Fernando Alonso in fifth. That won't last long at all. Now, yeah, an unsuitable tyre now because the track is getting drier, so it's an unsuitable tyre compound now. So we're on the intermediate tyres, as I wanted, really, at the moment in this session. Now, you can obviously check. If I scroll through the wet tyres like this, you can see the lap times are actually dropping by a few hundreds each second there. So the wet tyres are not for this track at the moment, so it's time for the intermediates. And even the dry tyres are dropping time as well, so the intermediates are the perfect tyre for these conditions. So let's try it. Let's try the inters. Let's hope we can do a good lap here, because I want to do well in this session, because it's one of my best tracks, Canada, so let's hope we can do well. Coming out of the pit lane now, and here we go onto just out of the pit lane. It's a very short pit lane because we completely skip out turn 1 and 2, and we go straight onto the track, straight to turn 3. So we go out on track now on the intermediate tyres. So we're, I think, the first guy to go out on the intermediates at the moment. So this is going to be I think this will be a pole run for sure, because with the first guy out of the intermediates will be at least, let's say, 2 seconds faster, maybe, something like that. And now coming into the final chicane, breaking down to third gear. Of course, the wet is very understeery, so we did understeer a bit there. And now coming onto the pit straight, starting our lap here in Canada, crossing the line. And now coming into turn 1, breaking down to third gear. Oh, I had to steer out of the corner there, I don't know why. Now coming to turn 2, breaking down to second gear, taking it nicely. Now coming onto the straight to turn 3, don't oversteer on the exit. Coming into turn 3, sliding a lot here actually. I don't like driving the wet in this game, I've always said that. Mainly because it slides quite a lot in the wet. As you can see right now, I'm really struggling to keep it on the track. But now, coming to that chicane, which is quite nice. Now coming onto the mini straight, coming down towards the tunnel into turn 8 and 9. Jensen Button says provisional pole at the moment. Told you the inters are like 2 seconds faster. Jensen Button on provisional pole at the moment with a 1:24, I believe it was. 1:26 actually. Bottas now gets provisional pole. Who else is going to get provisional pole in this session? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be, yeah, oversteering in the exit of the hairpin as I expected. And now coming onto the straight now, Rosberg with a 1:25.2. This is getting more interesting now, coming into the final chicane. Where are we going to be for this qualifying? Here we go to the final chicane, taking in second gear because to reduce the oversteer there. Now coming onto the final straight, taking the shorter run to the line. Here we go, across the line. It's a 1:25.1, and we take provisional pole here in Canada. Could this be our second pole position in a row in this career mode? And our third pole position in Canada in career mode overall. Now that's going to be interesting. A hat-trick of pole positions. Hat-trick of pole positions, hopefully in Canada, but I don't think they will stay with us in this session, because we have Nico Rosberg, so we have Lewis Hamilton who's down in 8th, yet to improve on a lap on the wet, so we have Hamilton to improve, Vettel and Verstappen to improve, and Raikkonen to improve as well, so I don't think I'll get pole. But here is Hamilton. Now coming onto the pit straight, not the pit straight, the back straight. What can Hamilton do in this session? Can he get pole position? Can he get provisional pole in this Canadian Grand Prix qualifying? Here we go into the final chicane. Hamilton takes it nicely. Hamilton's really good around this track in real life, so he should be good in this game as well, because about the realism this game has. Now coming into turn 1, breaking down to third gear, he takes that apex nicely. He's way faster than what Felipe Massa does. And the first sector he needs to beat is a 25.580. So let's see what he can do now. Coming into this onto the like the mini straight there, and the sector time is a 25.510. So that is 7/100ths faster than my provisional pole sector time at the moment. But 27.7 is the sector time he needs to get the second sector time he needs to get fastest at the moment. Here in this session, it's a 27.2 actually, not a 27.7. 27.2 is what he needs. Now coming into the straight, Hamilton is coming up by 7/100ths in the first sector. Now coming into the hairpin, it's a 27.0 for Lewis Hamilton. He is 2/10 purple on provisional pole lap time. He is almost certainly going to get pole now. Here he comes onto the pit straight, the back straight. I keep saying pit straight, I'm stupid. Now coming onto the back straight, coming down to the final corner. What is Hamilton going to do in this qualifying? Here he goes into the final chicane. He breaks into the final chicane. He comes onto the pit straight. Hamilton comes towards the line. Here he goes onto the straight. He crosses the line with a 124.9. He gets provisional pole. Lewis Hamilton gets provisional pole by 1/10. And that's good. That's brilliant from Lewis Hamilton. He gets pole by 1/10. And now we need to wait for Raikkonen, Vettel, Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Rosberg to improve on their laps. We've got loads of people trying to improve on their laps. Here is Sebastian Vettel right now, coming onto the back straight once again. What can Vettel do? He is also faster than my second sector's time, but he's slower in the first sector. So let's see what happens here for Sebastian Vettel. Where is he going to be in this qualifying session? Into the final chicane. Coming onto the straight. What can Vettel do as he now crosses the line with a 125.3, only going 4th fastest. So Sebastian Vettel not doing so well here. Grosjean in 21st at the moment. Now that's really isn't ideal for him, to be honest with you. Ricciardo in 20th at the moment on an outlap with 1 minute and 9 seconds to go. Sorry for the coughing. Can Ricciardo actually make it to get a new lap in? If he doesn't, he'll qualify 20th for this race. And now Grosjean actually gets blocked by the Renault there, so it's been a terrible qualifying for Romain Grosjean. But we now have 45 seconds left in this Canadian Grand Prix qualifying session. Here he comes onto the straight. He goes past the Manor as well, and he's just lost a load of time in that sector. He is almost a second slower than me in the first sector. He's almost a second slower than me. It's ridiculous. Now coming onto the straight, Grosjean is most likely still going to be 21st, which is unfortunate really, because I want him to be equal with me, so it's just not going to happen at this rate. So Jensen Button's coming on a lap, so is Nico Rosberg. Ricciardo's about to start his. So with 4 seconds to go, he actually can't watch the rest of Grosjean's lap here, so let's see what the result is.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Hamilton, Ricciardo, and De Haas. It's time to leave for now, but we'll be back tomorrow when the Grand Prix itself gets underway.
So, the result is that we've qualified in 3rd place for this Canadian Grand Prix. Hamilton takes pole, and Ricciardo in 2nd on the front row. So, decent qualifying from Ricciardo. Me in 3rd, Harrianto, 5 seconds off the pace, 6 seconds off the pace, on the wet tyres. He never improved. Valtteri Bottas in 4th, ahead of Nico Rosberg, then Vettel in 6th, then Verstappen, Raikkonen, Button, Alonso, Perez, Sainz, Kvyat, Massa, Hulkenberg, Verline, Ericsson, Magnussen, Palmer, Nasser, and then Grosjean, and then Harrianto. So, a decent qualifying session for the 2nd time in a wet session, we have qualified in 3rd place on the grid. So, let's hope the race, which will be uploaded tomorrow, will be good. Let's just hope. Let's just hope for the best. For the race, we get 88 resource points after that, so that gives us 558 resource points. The rivalry update, our first rivalry with Jensen Button, we beat him by quite a long way. Actually, not quite a long way. Actually, Button has half my rivalry points there, so we have 6. He has 3. We are still overachieving as a second driver. For sure, we'll get into the first driver position. So that concludes qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix. Hope you enjoyed it. We qualified in 3rd place for this race. Let's hope it's a decent race tomorrow for the Canadian Grand Prix. And see you guys on my next video, which will be the Canada race, as I said. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And click the bell button for notifications. And goodbye.